Hey, Kate, what did you eat last night?
I made pork burgers and sweet potato fries with a honey mustard mint dipping sauce and some grilled broccoli.
Nice. I've never had pork burgers when I was eating meat.
Yeah, you don't see them very often, and I think pork is a sort of delicate flavor, and the recipe that I found involved adding bacon to the pork burger, so it was still pork, but a different kind of pork, and it was delicious, but the bacon kind of overpowered the flavor of the pork a little bit because ground pork doesn't have a huge amount of flavor, I think, and it's super lean. That's one of the reasons that you want to add, at least what I had was really lean, add the bacon. So it ended up tasting like bacon, really, more than anything. Okay. So I'm not complaining, but it was delicious. So I'm going to try adding bacon next time I make a chicken burger. I'm going to try adding a little bit of bacon to it so that it tastes like bacon also, but it's chicken.
Nice, okay.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it was delicious. What did you eat?
Oh, it didn't go well. I had an oyster shooter, and, I'm a pescatarian, as you know, and I really have come back. I only eat fish and maybe some crabs occasionally and shrimp. And I used to like oysters years ago, but I sort of gave up on them. But, an oyster shooter, they shuck the oyster, they put it in a shot glass, and it's usually topped with a spicy cocktail sauce. It has vodka and salt and pepper and a little bit of lemon juice and some horseradish. And, of course, the whole idea is you're supposed to do it as a shot in one gulp. And I thought, I'll just try it and come back to it because, I'm always sort of intrigued by oysters and clams, which I don't really eat that much anymore. So I thought, let's just give it a try. So I went to eat it. And the minute it hit my mouth, I remembered why I don't really like oysters, because they're so slimy. And I tried to do it as a shot, but it got in my mouth, but then I just couldn't really do it as a shot, so it didn't go down. So then it was just stuck in my mouth. And people were saying, just swallow it, just swallow it. I'm like, I can't.
Oh, God.
So then it just became this ridiculous thing that I wound up somehow chewing, because you're not really, you don't really chew oysters that much. You just sort of get them down. And so it was a disaster.
That sounds unbearably awful. That just sounds completely terrible.
And I should have just stayed away.
Oh my gosh. I don't understand the point of a food that you're supposed to just swallow whole. Like, how is that enjoyable?
Valid point, Kate. I don't know. Hello, and welcome to another episode of You Won't Believe What I Ate Last Night. I am Rick Fiore.
And I'm Kate DeVore.
And this is our ongoing conversation about food, health, weight management, and our endeavor to be and stay healthy in a really tasty world.
With love, kindness, and compassion towards ourselves and others.
Today, we are talking about this really amazing trip that Kate and I got to take to Burgundy, France.
So amazing, you guys.
Also, this is a bonus episode. It's about twice as long as our episodes normally are. As you guys know, we usually like to keep our episodes around 30 minutes, but we had so much content, we made this an extra long episode. It's called a barge trip. We were on a barge in Burgundy, France, down what canal, Kate?
The Nivernais Canal.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of accent talk in this episode, so I'm going to defer to Kate every time we need accent work.
That's right. Nivernais. I'll say them like that every time. That won't get annoying at all.
In France.
In France.
So, as you know, Kate and I like to travel as much as we can together. And this was an extraordinary trip. We got to travel on the, what, Kate?
The Luciole.
Yes. So the Luciole barge, this really beautiful barge that on our particular trip had 11 passengers, and they're designed to be really small, really tailored to a very particular type of experience.
One of those experiences is food.
Oh. Yeah, we had a 5-star. I'm going to go 6-star. I'm just going to invent the 6-star, Kate. We had 6-star experience.
Yeah, we really did.
Yeah. I've never really experienced travel like this before. It really blew my mind.
I know. And I knew I was looking forward to it, but I didn't understand until after we got there how much I was going to like it. It was so much even better than everything I thought it could possibly be. And it's so slow. That's part of what's amazing about it, because it's on a canal, not a river. So there's locks where people have to get out and do a lot of work, and you're exhausted watching them, and they have to open and close the locks.
So
and
the boat can raise and lower, and you can pass through and get to a lower level or a higher level.
You'd have to duck when you went under the bridges. And at one point, the captain had to take the steering wheel off so we could clear the bridges. And he had like an inch on either side of the boat to get through the locks. It was amazing.
And it's a type of trip that is designed to slow you down so that you can really, what Kate and I always like to talk about, savor life, right? To really practice this enjoyment of food and vacation.
And just being. And it was so beautiful. It went over the course of a week. It went a total of literally like 25 miles.
Yeah.
That's all it was. It's so incredibly slow and just beautiful. Everything looked like a postcard. You're going to see some of our pictures up on our website. And we'll also, of course, give you the website for the cruise, for the Luciole. If you're interested in doing anything like this would be the one I would suggest.
Yeah, by far. And there were a lot of people on the boat that had been on the boat before and swear by the Luciole as the way to go.
Yes. And these are people that do a lot of world traveling, and they keep coming back to this particular barge. So suffice it to say, it was absolutely amazing. And we'll be talking a lot more about the food and the details of what our dining experience was in a little bit as we go through the podcast. So there's going to be 3 sections to the podcast. The first one is going to be talking, and they're each talking about our major themes that we talk about. So first one, of course, being food.
We're going to do a what I ate section. So you're going to hear from people on the ship and then the fabulous crew members that were there to, really help us. You'll hear everything about what they ate last night. Then you'll also hear the next section, which is going to be how do they stay healthy in a tasty world, particularly on a barge with really tasty food. And then after that...
Yeah, a gourmet barge, right?
Gourmet baby. And then after that, we're going to do a section on hospitality and the role that it plays in practicing kindness and compassion towards yourself and others. And it's sort of amazing how this travel experience really fit like, a target, like a strong target right into what Kate and I really have been talking about so much and love to talk about.
Yeah. So enjoy listening to some of our passengers and crew telling us about what they ate last night. And we'll be back with you in a few minutes.
So who are you and where are you from?
Well, my name is Rosemary McGuinness and I'm from Canada and I live just outside Ottawa.
Nice.
Excellent. Thank you. And what did you eat last night?
Well, it was lunch, actually.
Yes, what did you eat yesterday afternoon?
Yes. And so I had the most wonderful spinach tagliatelle and carrot salad with mint, frog's legs, an amazing stuffed mushroom with all sorts of goodies in it, and a wonderful little arugula salad. Now, we call it arugula in North America.
Yes.
What do they call it here in France?
Rocket.
Rocket, that's right.
Rocket
yes,
in England.
Yes, that's right. And it was all delicious, washed down with copious amounts of white wine.
Yes.
How would you describe the frog's legs? Because I've never had them.
Well, they're delicious, actually. These were really small ones, and they're very tender, and they're really a little bit like chicken. But our chef had battered them beautifully with a sort of tempura batter, and they were really tender and quite lovely. So yes. I really enjoyed those.
I ate my first frog leg on this trip.
And how was it?
Yes.
They are nice.
One.
You have to. I mean, you haven't. If you're going to eat meat, you can't worry where it comes from. That's my philosophy.
No. I think it's the psychological bit for me somehow more than anything else.
Yes. So, no, it was a delicious lunch. Yeah.
So, who are you and what do you do?
Well, hi, my name is Andy, and I'm the tour guide on the Luciole.
Nice. What did you eat last night?
Honestly, I don't think I had dinner last night.
Oh.
I think I had hot dogs later on at night before bed, but I didn't eat dinner when I went home last night.
So, when you say you didn't have dinner, does that mean you don't think about food? Does that mean you're not thinking, I've worked a long day and I've got to go home and eat? Like, how is that showing up in your brain? Because, like, for me to forget about a meal takes a lot.
Good question. No, you know what? I don't think a lot about food. It doesn't feature big in my life. I'm sorry. I'm one of those. I take it, I leave it.
I can't tell if I envy that or feel sorry for it. I switch. I go back and forth.
Yes.
Part of me envies it.
Yeah, I can understand.
I envy it a lot.
And then part of me is like, but you're missing out on something that is so richly valuable to me.
So, who are you and where are you from?
Okay, my name is Adrienne Smeaton and I live in Tasmania. I grew up in New Zealand, but I've lived in Australia for a long time, since about 1977. And this is my third trip on the Luciole.
And what did you eat last night, Adrienne?
Absolutely. Well, every night's been gorgeous, but last night we had a beautiful starter, which was a raviolo, which had crab in it, and the most gorgeous tomato consomme, just beautiful. And really, really clear, but had that beautiful flavour of tomato in it. Yeah. And then followed by lamb shanks that must have been in the oven all day because it just fell off the bone. It was just
possibly
beautiful.
the best lamb I've ever had.
Absolutely.
It made me want to eat meat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was. It was gorgeous. And then there was this gorgeous mint, sort of like a slightly jellied drops of it on the side of the plate.
Yeah, it was clear in color, and it was very fancy. It was these 3 beautiful, different sized little blobs of clear liquid.
Exactly.
But they had the mint flavor to it, like a mint sauce.
Beautiful.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
So, who are you, and what do you do here?
My name is Luke Foreman. I'm from Britain, a town called Guildford, so 40 kilometres south of London. I'm the Matelot.
And that is...
You're a what?
The Matelot.
Matelot.
Yes.
Okay.
Or deckhand. So I look after the maintenance of the boat, keep the boat clean, fix any emergency issues that we have inside.
Looking after is a generous term with what Luke does on the boat. He does so much.
We're all exhausted from watching him.
All week we were like, we're never going to be able to talk to him. We're never going to be able to talk to him. What did you eat last night?
So guinea fowl.
Why are you laughing?
I thought it was chicken for the last 3 months, but apparently it's guinea fowl. Really good guinea fowl with mustard mash, and I'm sure there was some veg as well thrown in there.
Please tell us who you are.
I'm Judy Klein from Seattle, Washington. This is our 6th time on the Luciole. We were here originally about 24 years ago.
So that speaks plainly to the fact that you care for it. So what did you eat last night, Judy?
We started with a crab tian.
Which I learned means layered.
And the main course was a guinea hen. Absolutely delicious.
It was
and
lovely.
Beautifully presented, as every meal on the barge is. Just beautiful.
And what did you think of the dessert last night?
The poached pear?
Yeah.
It was fabulous. And I saw somebody eating the core.
Yes. That's how good it was. That's right. And it wasn't me or Rick, actually, for a change.
And at lunch the other day, the berries with the lemon ice cream, the ice cream made on the barge.
That was spectacular.
Yes,
it was in cassis and...
Yes, it was gorgeous berries with the cassis and honey, and then this homemade lemon ice cream that was just
really to die for.
Creamy and wonderful.
And the cheeses.
Yeah. You had to bring up the cheeses, Judy. So, who are you, and what do you do here?
Noemi Kakese, and I'm a hostess here.
Where is home?
Dijon. So somewhere in Burgundy, not far from here.
Oh, nice. Cool. Great. What did you eat last night?
I had a bit of tortellini, and the cheese one and the crab one. I had
Which
lamb.
one was better?
Oh, I like them both. I like food too.
You're in the right job.
I had lamb, I had sweet potato. What was dessert last night again?
Oh, it says cake.
It was my birthday cake.
Oh, I had it this morning as well.
Was it good?
Did y'all make that? Did Jade make that?
Yeah, she made that.
Wow.
She made that, yeah.
That was really
With
spectacular.
this cream. Oh, Lord.
Boy, that was special.
Yeah.
So, who are you and what do you do?
Jade. Just cooking, chefing, just try to...
Just chefing on the barge.
Yep. And then...
How did you end up on a boat, cooking on a boat?
It's actually a strange story. So I got bit from my brother's dog, and legally you can't work with an open wound. So for the first time in my life, I just sat without a job, no option of a job, and it became quite depressing to a point. It made me want to do something extreme. So it made me apply for here and contact Penny instead of just doing an everyday job back home. So
Yeah, what a great idea. Good. And look, here you are. You work magic in this kitchen, which I guess for a galley is probably pretty big, eh? It seems...
it's a good size, yeah, definitely.
It's amazing what comes out of here.
Is that the food you're talking about here?
And you. Every time you come out, we're so excited. What did you eat last night?
Same as yours, guys.
Oh.
Same as all yous, actually. I had a bit of yours and a bit of yours. Some salmon, risotto, and some marinated pork.
So you make the same meal for the gang on the crew on board?
We have what's
Same.
left of yours, basically,
Okay.
like between dietaries and stuff, and there's always tons left.
Wow.
So we just make up a crew dinner between that.
Okay.
Same with the lunch as well.
That's great.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Little
And we
ways.
noticed that you sometimes share with some of the lot keepers, yeah?
Yeah,
You have certain ones you have
definitely.
relationships with, it seems?
I definitely. Any of them can have anything they want, but if I know you a bit better, then I know what you like.
Yeah.
So I can instantly give you it.
Yeah.
So,
That's sweet. So, who are you and what do you do here?
I am Francisco Madrid. I am the captain of the Luciole.
And you seem to be something of a sommelier as well.
Yes, it's part of the activities. It's part of my responsibility. My work is to talk about wines. Yeah,
Yeah, so you're a boat captain and a wine expert.
I can't say I am an expert, but I love wine, so I try to understand the wine industry. If you want the wine.
Yeah.
stuff.
Yes, that makes sense. And what did you eat last night?
I eat exactly the same as you. We eat exactly the same as you every day.
Which was?
It's
Guinea fowl.
Guinea fowl, yes.
Yeah.
So we arrived on the Luciole tonight, and we were greeted with, what was the drink? A Kir Royale?
Kir Royale, champagne, and creme de cassis.
And let's bear in mind that we are literally on a barge on the most beautiful water that sits below the most beautiful church in Burgundy.
You guys will see the pictures on the
Yeah.
website if you care, because they are so stunning.
And what's so great about this is this whole idea of how wonderful it is when you arrive someplace, truly beautiful. Like there's literally a reaction that your body has where you settle and you're here.
And our host, Penny Liley, is just an innate hostess. Like, she just knows how to make you feel comfortable and welcome in her second home.
She knows what to do and when to do it.
Yeah, so everybody's friendly, everybody's welcoming, they know your name, they give you drinks.
After the Kir Royale,
Drinks and food.
we were greeted with a melon drink. A melon,
Oh, it was
what?
a melon velouté. Like, it was a shot glass full of melon. And
with a
it
little
had
piece
like
of melon on the side.
but it had a drop of hot sauce on the top. Did you notice that?
I did.
One tiny drop of hot sauce in a shot glass of beautiful melon puree. I would never in a million years have thought of
No.
putting hot sauce on melon.
No.
But it's like a shot of melon juice. It was amazing.
It's going to be the new thing. We're going to bring it back to the States.
So there were 3 things they brought around. And so one of them was that.
The second thing I had was the salmon pate, which was this really tasty salmon pate on top of like a soft cracker. It was really nice because I'm usually used to it being on top of a hard cracker, but a soft, chewable cracker was really beautiful.
They called it something. I can't remember, but I didn't have that one. And then it was...
My favorite. Do you want to tell them what it was, Kate?
I do. Then they had a little like spoon, one of those fancy spoons, and it was a blood pudding ball, I guess, and it was this little tiny ball like the size of a marble, and it had obviously been... They didn't call it a blood, they called it black pudding. That's why it was confusing. So
and that's why I wanted to eat it.
Right, a black pudding ball, and it was rolled in some kind of crunchiness, and it had on the spoon like a sauce and a green on it. And
who doesn't want to eat something called black pudding? I
right,
do.
it's called pudding.
So I pick one up,
right,
and I have it in my hand, and I have my fingers on the ball, and I'm ready to put it in my mouth. Kate, do you want to tell the people?
Tell them what happened.
Kate turns to me and says, "You know that's blood, right?" It's a good entree into Barge Luciole.
It was fantastic. And then it was time for dinner.
Then they rang the bell.
So at dinner, you guys, we did it again.
We're so sorry.
We might have had a little bit more wine than we usually have when we do our recordings.
We really don't drink this much, really.
We really don't, but we were in France, you guys. What could we do?
And things were slow and relaxing.
Exactly. And we were out on the deck wrapped in blankets looking at stars.
Stunning.
All right, back to our rambling.
At dinner, it started out with the appetizer was 3 tiny scallops. Beautifully prepared.
Like about the size of a dime
Yeah.
in diameter, I would say.
Yeah.
Nothing like I've ever seen on television, which I say with great knowledge since I don't eat scallops.
They were beautifully prepared. They weren't overcooked. They melted in your mouth. They had on top, they were like with their seeds around. I think there were little seeds and like some fried onions maybe
There
on
was
it.
like little potato sticks.
Yeah. And then after that, they came around and poured a little bit of avocado oil in your dish. So it would be the accoutrement to the scallops. So it was really wonderful.
There was various sauces, like the kind you see on the shows where there's like drips, like a few drops of different amazing sauces. And you're like, well, how much flavor can you get from one drop of a sauce? it turns out. And because they know I don't eat seafood, what they did was so freaking amazing. They took little pieces of white radish and which I'm guessing might have been daikon, I don't even know, and they cut it into the same size as the scallops and they seared it. Has anyone out there ever had seared radish? Because we had not.
You would never have thought it was a different dish. It looked exactly the same as the main dish.
It looked like the scallops and it was so good. Oh my God, it was amazing. And there was like 3 or 4 little pieces. It was beautiful.
And that act there is like a sign to the attention of detail and sort of the hostess capability of Penny and her crew, that their eye to detail is pretty spectacular.
Let's talk about the wine. So the first wine they served us was a Chablis, which you'll see a picture of the label on our website. Beautiful. And normally, when I like Chardonnay, I like a rich, buttery Chardonnay.
Mm-hmm.
This was not that.
No.
This was a minerally acidic Chardonnay, which normally I don't like, but it was amazing.
It really went down so well.
It was so good. And then the red wine was a Pinot Noir with a something else blend. I couldn't understand what they said. They said it was 10% something else. We didn't understand the words. But
And I'm not a big fan of Pinot Noirs.
No, it's usually watery and weak, and it was so good.
The color was really wonderful.
Oh, it was this beautiful ruby color, and it was rich. It wasn't like watery. Yeah, exactly. And then the entree came, and the main course was a beautiful 3 little pieces of duck breast, perfectly cooked over this dauphinoise potato, like this beautiful fried potato, and some little tiny drib of an orange sauce with fried kale and a little grilled mandarin orange slice, I think it was, and then like a sauce that came in a boat, like a gravy boat that you could pour over. Oh yes, a baby leek that looked like a scallion, but it didn't taste like a scallion. It was a baby leek. And you had gravy, like sauce, if you wanted it. It was amazing. And since Rick doesn't eat meat,
They prepared for me 2 king prawns that were really sort of spectacular.
They were like the size of my head.
And I'm generally not a fan of those because the larger the prawn, the less well cooked it tends to be. But these were just done spectacularly from head to toe. Terrible phrase, but they were head to tail. They were literally well cooked all the way through. And they had this sort of like light salt at the very end just thrown on that had a crunch at the end. It was really wonderful.
Yeah, the seasoning was perfect because I salt everything and I did not need to salt anything in this meal.
Yeah.
Jade, our chef, who is from Scotland, is amazing. Yeah.
So then after that, we went on to the cheese plates.
Cheese course.
So they come out and they introduce 2 cheeses. They just hold them on the board and talk about them. One of which is
Comté.
And the other one was, do you remember?
Some kind of goat cheese.
God, they were
It was
heavenly.
some kind of chev.
And of course we had
They
that
told us
with a little
stories.
bit of lettuce.
Yeah.
And
little
some bread.
salad.
And, it just was heaven.
And then the dessert was a banoffee pudding thing. It was some kind of banana, toffee, crusty coffee,
Had coffee ice
meringue
cream, caramel sauce on
thing
top,
in a
martini glass. It was heaven. And I'm not a big fan of coffee, so it was the right amount of coffee ice cream.
It was amazing because, in fact, I'm going to say Rick doesn't like coffee, and yet he enjoyed this dessert even though it had a strong coffee presence. But the banana and toffee and other stuff was even better. And then
you don't even want to hear about the cognac people.
Yeah. they were like, do you want cognac or tea or coffee? And I was like, can I have decaf coffee and cognac? And the rest of the boat was like, yeah, we want that too, pretty much.
Totally, yeah, pretty much.
So we're their favorite people because we're like, we want everything.
Please give us everything.
And then they came out and allowed us to sit out on the deck, even though it's sort of wet, and they dried it off for us. So we're out here recording this in this beautiful
little village in Burgundy, France.
Yeah, more to come. And that was just the first night. Now, you will be relieved to hear we did not do a recording like that for every meal, even though we totally could have.
You are so lucky. You should be so thanking us right now.
You really should, because it was actually our intention to do those all the time, and this would be a 10-hour episode. So it's really, really good. Because here was what happened. We spent, I would estimate, at least 5 hours a day dining on this
Easily.
cruise. Like, that was how it worked out.
Yeah.
You would come up, and in the morning, there would, no matter what time you came up, and the one time I was late, everybody was very concerned the day I slept in.
They kept asking me, is Kate okay? Is Kate okay? Do you want me to go check on her? I'm like, no, I think she's sleeping. Thanks, though.
Wasn't it like 9 o'clock? It wasn't even that late. Yeah, so you come up and there would be fresh croissant and pain au chocolat from bakeries along the route that they would go out to get, and beautiful fresh fruit and juices and yogurt. And if you wanted anything else, you could certainly have it. So breakfast was the light meal of the day.
Definitely.
Then we'd go out for some kind of excursion to a medieval market town or a winery or basilica or something. And then there would be lunch.
And lunch would always start with a description. And the thing that the chef Jade would come out and really describe to us what you're going to get that day. And it was so lovely. It's one of the things we'll talk about later, that it's such a great sign of their hospitality that they really want you to understand exactly what you're making. And one of the things I felt as a vegetarian on the ship was, a pescatarian on the ship, is that I've never felt so wonderfully cared for with someone who has a dietary issue. They really went to such care, because a lot of times I'm used to just being like the the one that doesn't eat meat, and then I just get, roasted summer vegetables or something. And I'm always sort of disappointed about it. But they were so exquisite about how they cared for not giving me meat, and the meat replacements were spectacular.
And me for seafood, because there was seafood at every meal.
Yeah.
And so it was the same thing. So what we described about the scallops and replacing it with radishes, like that kind of care was taken every time. And Jade took great pride in doing something beautiful for us. And it was really lovely. So Jade would come out, and she's a bit shy as Jade, so she didn't love this part, but it was really fun. She'd come out and explain what she'd made. And lunch was served rustically. So we were still at smaller tables, and you sat yourself, obviously, at all these things. And there would be 5 or 6 hearty salads, and you heard a description of one of those lunches earlier, and they would plate it for you rustically, so it would all be on one plate, and then the rest would be on the sideboard, and you could go help yourself if you wanted more. And there was always a white wine with lunch, and then there was either a dessert course or a cheese course with lunch. It alternated. One day would be dessert, one day would be cheese. Because, there is a limit. So lunch would usually take, maybe 2 hours.
Easily.
Sometimes, right?
Easily. I think we spent 2.5 hours at lunch and 2.5 at dinner. It was crazy.
Yeah, well, dinner
relaxing.
was, exactly. And so then the afternoon was typically for lounging on the deck and watching the scenery go by, or going for a bike ride or a walk, because it's a barge, so you can get out and exercise by going for a walk or a bike ride along the towpath. And then dinner was at 7:30.
And it started again. We'd come up, and this was, again, you choose where to sit. Jade would come out and do another description about the meal to come. And this was, you would receive a plated dish at the table. They would bring it out to you already plated. And again, it was
courses.
Yes.
Yeah, and the dinner table was a long banquet table, so you were all at the same table, whereas breakfast and lunch were tables of 4. So it had a different vibe, and was there's tablecloths at dinner and not at breakfast and lunch. And so there was an appetizer and an entree and a dessert course and a cheese course
every night.
And red wine and white wine.
It was crazy.
And we got amazing descriptions of the wines because they were all of the region. So usually the captain, sometimes Andy, the tour guide, would come and give us descriptions of each of the wine and where they're from and how they're made and what's special about them. And then when the cheese courses came out, we'd get descriptions of those, which you're going to hear a little bit about later. And a lot of people just ended up going to bed straight from the dinner table. Most people, except for me and Rick, actually, and occasionally some of the other diehards. But
Because
it
we
was
knew
a
there was
long
cognac
affair.
on the ship.
Yeah, there was cognac and miscellanea. Yeah.
And after the dinner, we would quite often end our evenings on the deck with a little throw to warm us as we looked up at the stars, which were amazing and you could see so clearly.
It was so lovely, so lovely. So now you're going to hear Jade talking about our lunch description. Jade is from Scotland, and she has one of the many varied accents that you have already heard most of at this point, and we'll hear a few more of as we go through. So it was just a lovely treat for the ears as well.
It doesn't work when I do it, does it?
How are you doing? He's okay?
Yes.
So today's lunch, we have a caprese salad with some grated balsamic gel.
Oh, fun.
This is a new thing for me. So we have some gougere with Comté cheese. We have a green salad with some feta, red onion and a Dijon dressing. We have a seafood chowder with some red onions, mushrooms and a creamy white wine sauce with some whelks and some clams.
Wow.
We have a spaghetti squash given to us from Cindy the other day, the bookkeeper, with some chickpeas, lamb's leaf, and it has argan oil and honey dressing. And we have some parmesan and egg cups.
Nice. So I bet you're listening wondering, how can you possibly stay healthy with all of that food?
This is a question we had as well. And so now you're going to hear some of the people on the boat answer that question. How do you stay healthy in a tasty world?
Because I follow the French doctor counsel, 2 glasses of wine every day, and bike.
And bike.
And bike and steering.
And the steering.
Yeah.
The steering is a workout, yeah.
You see.
So I'm up here on the bridge with him, and he just allowed me very kindly to steer the boat. And it takes a lot of work because it's a barge, of course. And so we're on the river right now, and you have to do a lot of maintaining.
Yeah.
So you probably use your core, for that?
Yeah.
And then you're able to bike.
Yes.
So how do you stay healthy in a really tasty world?
Well, I am healthy.
Yeah.
That's a tough question. I love to cook. I love to eat. But I do try to be, when I cook, to make good choices. You have to enjoy eating to enjoy cooking.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And I think they tend to go together.
You also seem pretty committed to your exercise on the trip.
Yes.
And is that something that you take with you everywhere you go?
Not as much as sometimes I forget to pack it.
And how do you stay healthy in a really tasty world?
I don't.
Note to listener, Naomi looks fit and healthy.
She wears smart outfits.
I know. She's very cute.
Thank you. I absolutely don't. I don't do sugar-free or fat-free or anything.
But what do you do? What
Do
do
you
you
work-
do to stay healthy? Like, how do you not just become, I don't know.
Do you work out?
I don't work out. I don't run unless I'm getting chased.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, so luck.
Yeah, I
Jeans?
think jeans basically.
Okay.
Yeah, because all my family is like we all like this.
Yeah.
Have you ever struggled with weight?
My
Weight
struggle is
management?
to put on weight.
Really?
I do struggle to put on weight. Like
My-
losing weight is easy because I think I kind of know my body. If I want to lose weight, I'm just gonna have 1 meal a day and that's it.
See, I'm the opposite. I really know how to put on weight.
So when you say I just have 1 meal a day and that's it, like that's no big deal. Like, would that be difficult for you?
No.
Really?
Because I don't eat in the
That's
morning.
interesting.
I don't do lunch. Well, I do lunch sometimes. I would
see.
just have 1 meal by 5, 6, and that's me for the day.
Aren't you ever faint?
No.
Like, if you don't eat, you're not like, oh my God, I'm faint. I have to lie down. Because that's what I do.
Every 20 minutes, Rick is doing a self-compress.
Oh my God!
I see. So part of the reason it's not easy for you to keep weight on is that you don't remember to eat. You don't think to eat necessarily,
Sometimes
right?
I forgot to eat.
Oh my
you're
God.
one of those people who forgets to eat.
Yeah. Sometimes
I've
I'm
heard
like
about
sitting
you.
in my bed. Oh, I didn't eat today.
Wow.
Well, actually, I'll eat tomorrow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And yet you love good food. You care
I
about
do,
food.
yeah, I do.
That's a fascinating combination to me, right? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
could see people being like, yeah, whatever, but they're like, also, I don't care. I'll eat whatever you serve me, but I don't care. But you're not. You like good food. You know the difference.
Yeah, I do like good food. I like desserts.
How do you explain this?
Because this is like, I want to be in your brain to figure out how this shows up.
I know. We want that. We want that, whatever that is. We want it. We want to love good food and then also not feel compelled to eat all of it.
Yeah.
I want to know your thoughts about what the people who come as passengers on this boat eat and how we eat.
See, I have an impression that from your point of view, you're like, how can these people eat everything they eat?
Yeah.
Because it never stops. You keep putting stuff out and we keep consuming it. Like, we haven't eaten in days. And you just have a smile on your face like, here it is, enjoy it. Poor starving people.
It's been hours since we fed you.
No, I think sometimes I feel really like tonight. I love the salmon and the rice. That's my favorite meal. But I start eating it, and then I had to go and serve cheese. And when I come back, I'm just not hungry anymore.
Yeah,
and that is like, oh, I want to eat it.
And you're like, damn.
Yeah,
I wish I was still hungry.
Exactly. So I understand. I feel actually you're lucky to be able to eat as much as you want.
It's a lovely perspective that you have to have in order to do your job well, which you do. So you can't.
Because food is so good here. I wish I could eat all of it. But
so you're like,
How do you stay healthy in a really tasty world?
With difficulty. With difficulty.
How do you stay healthy in a tasty world?
Well, during this job, obviously, all the exercise and sort of physical stuff that I have to do.
It's a lot, people.
Normally, I don't really stay that healthy. I always do physical jobs, so I guess I burn off what I eat. But
you don't even really think about it, really.
I'm terrible for just eating anything.
Oh, wow.
I probably drink quite a lot of calories as well.
See, we're so similar, except for the fact that I'm not as active as you.
Fair enough.
And how do you stay healthy in a tasty world?
Well, I try and fast a lot. So I usually have my main meal before 7 or 7:30. And then I'll drink water and that sort of thing. And I don't usually have another meal to eat until about 11 o'clock the next morning, unless I have to go somewhere. And then I usually have a white egg omelette with goat cheese, spinach, olives and an avocado. And I find that keeps me really sustained until supper time.
I could see that it would.
And I found that I feel much better for not eating 3 meals a day.
I agree with you.
I mean, the sort of thinking is you should got to have 3 meals a day at a regular time. But I mean, I've only been doing this for about 3 or 4 months, and I found I feel better for doing it that way. So that works for me.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
excellent.
Yeah, well.
How do you stay healthy in a tasty world?
Have we stumped you?
Well, you know what? I appreciate very much your comment. I don't think I'm very healthy. I don't get sick. I never get sick, so I guess I'm fairly healthy.
So what's your definition then, yo? If you don't think you're healthy.
But how do I stay healthy in a tasty world? You know what? Yeah, I eat those tasty things. I eat a lot of rubbish, a lot of sweets, a lot of chocolates, and I think that helps because it keeps me away from those other things that other people eat and they get sick. So I don't know. I can fill up on those kind of things. That reminds me, I had quite a load of chocolate last night. In addition to not having dinner, so I had a lot of rubbish last night. Some chocolate.
Rubbish.
Yeah,
So
there we
I'm
go.
going to say a kick-ass gene pool.
Well, maybe that's it. Yeah, I'm happy to go with that. No problem at all.
So, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Kimberly and I am from England, but at the moment I'm working in France on a hotel Barge on the French canal, the Canal de Nivernais, and I work as a hostess.
And how do you stay healthy in a tasty world?
Oh, it's difficult. Living and working in France, you know, every day I'm around the pastries that come in every morning from the bakery. I'm around the cheese, the wine, the coffee, everything.
I know.
And, you know, whatever is left over that the passengers don't eat, it ends up in our workspace in the kitchen, and it's just sat on the side. And I have to try really hard to not eat. I actually, what I try to do is I pick a day where I'm going to say to myself, okay, you eat whatever you want on that day, and then the rest of the time you try and keep it healthy, and that's what I do.
Call it at home. Yeah,
exactly, yeah. And that's what I do, and I also try to balance it with some exercise when I can.
And do you still do yoga?
Yeah, I do. I don't do it as often as I would like to. My work schedule means that it's hard for me to get into a routine. I work different shifts. The excuses are coming out now. But
when you try not to eat a lot, is that easy for you? Because let me tell you, it's really hard for me.
Yes, yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. I don't know if anyone. Well, I don't know, but I don't find it easy. I'm tempted. I'm very easily tempted.
So what do you do in that moment where you're looking at the cheese on the sideboard? What do you do?
You
What goes through your mind to not eat the cheese?
I don't know. I would say half of the time. It depends maybe what my frame, what else is going on for me that day. Am I having a good day? Am I having a bad day? If I'm having a bad day and I have the mentality of, I just deserve a treat, you know, just screw it, just have something, then I probably wouldn't be able to resist, and I would go for it. But if I've had a run of a couple of days and I think, no, I'm feeling quite healthy, I've had a few good days, then I think, okay, I can stay
strong, girl.
Yeah. But it's difficult. Yes, it's a washed rind cheese, and it's the most pungent cheese that you would have tried so far this week. We have got a stronger one coming, but this is the strongest cheese so far. But to be honest, its bark is worse than its bite. It's called Livero, and it is quite a smelly cheese. The rind is an orange colour. It's washed in like an orange dye, something called annatto.
Oh yeah, annatto.
Which gives it its orange tinge. It's quite soft inside, and actually to taste it's not as strong as you might imagine going on the smell. So give it a try, even if you are put off by its smell. And by all means, if you don't want to eat the rind, don't eat it, but it is edible. So it's bound, as you can probably see, roughly it's bound by 3 pieces of straw. Well, this one actually has 4, but normally they do it so that it's roughly in 3 stripes. So it has the nickname the Colonel from the 3 stripes, and it's a pasteurised, semi-soft cow's milk cheese, and it comes from Normandy, so in northern France. And
what was it called again?
Livero.
Livero.
Yes, spelled Livarot.
We'll know that on the menu.
Yes, Livero. And this other cheese also comes from Normandy. Now, this white one here, which cheese would you use to coax a bear out of a cave?
Camembert.
Camembert.
Oh, God.
Camembert. Brilliant. So this is camembert, which is it's a bit cheesy, but
God. So, you know, one of the great things that we experienced on this barge cruise was how well we were taken care of, this idea of hospitality and the role it can play in how kind you are and how compassionate you are to other people. It's such an important topic, and Kate and I have talked a lot about this, how much we love entertaining, and we both really respect the idea of entertaining. We take it very serious when people come over. So this was sort of like that idea taken. It was on steroids, is what it was.
Yeah, we always ask on this podcast, how do you stay healthy with love, kindness, and compassion toward yourself and others? And in this case, what that looked like was hospitality and taking care of other people. So here's some information about that. We're going to start with our host, Penny Liley. Great. All right. So we are here with the lovely Penny Liley. Penny, tell us, what is the work that you do here in Burgundy, France?
I work in Burgundy on the Hotel Barge Luciole, which is a 12-passenger barge that takes people on cruises.
So one of the things that we've been really struck by is how we feel when we're on board here. And we think a big key of that is hospitality. what do you think are the key elements of hospitality that make, that maybe set your barge apart from everyone else's?
On the Luciole, we have a warm atmosphere, we always hope.
Yeah, true enough.
Thank you. The crew are wonderful. They all are a jigsaw piece in the whole puzzle, and they work very closely together. They're very professional but very relaxed, and they do a fantastic job at making people then feel at ease while they're here.
And listen, this is like late at night. This is after dinner. We said, can we grab Penny for 5 minutes? And when we walk in, you're helping the crew set up for breakfast. I think that's a really interesting thing.
Well, we're a team. We are a team, and I accidentally became a boss. I didn't expect to be in my role. So I still always feel I'm the cook on board, as I was once. So it comes very easy to throw in and roll up my sleeves and be part of it. And
What is it that you want your guests to feel?
at home as they walk up the gangplank. That's what I say. As the passengers walk up the gangplank, I want them to feel truly at home and at ease.
Yeah, well, it works.
Nice, it worked.
Yeah.
Like, what advice would you give about what it takes to make someone feel comfortable?
I think it was a Tiger Woods expression when somebody talked about how much practice he did at something, and he said something along the lines of, yes, it's funny, the more I practice, the better I get. Was that Tiger Woods?
I don't know, but I love it.
It was somebody who said that. So I suppose with 30 years behind me, if I wasn't doing something okay now, I really would be up the gum tree. So I suppose experience counts for an awful lot. And I think very often with a lot of situations in life, if something goes smoothly, it's because it has been very well planned. You know, the number of times people say, gosh, that was a close one, or that was lucky.
Yeah.
But it's often because it means they aren't well prepared, or something unexpected has happened. So we, to a certain extent, we know what's going to go on and what's happening, and we plan for that.
What's so interesting about that is, since we've been on board, everything's so exquisitely planned, and one of the things that sticks out is the different table napkins every night.
Yes.
And every lunch.
Yeah.
It's different every day. It's different every meal.
Yeah.
And it's sort of
That's
spectacular. Yeah.
That's
At
just
lunch,
part
they're
of it.
beautiful disposable napkins, you guys listening, with a different color theme each day. And at dinner, of course, they're linen, and they've got a different, what do you call it? Tie, a different decoration. What is there a term?
Fold.
Fold, thank you. A different fold each night. And they're just beautiful. And it's those little touches that really make it exceptionally good.
And we'll
I
have
think.
pictures of those on our website, because we've been
We've taken
documenting
a
everything.
picture of every single thing that's possibly ever happened.
Do you have an opinion on hospitality, how you treat people, how you make them feel, how that affects their health and well-being?
I think feeling relaxed, feeling cared for, feeling loved helps people enjoy their cruise and feel happy in life. And to give that sort of care to somebody, to people for a week, is an enormous privilege.
Thank you, Penny Liley.
So you've been taking us around. So as far as hospitality goes, what do you think is like one or two key things that makes people feel comfortable, feel good about themselves, that you do as a hospitality host?
I think it's very important to make people relax. And my style in doing that is to try and be friendly with people, try and put them at ease, make a joke of some things, be serious when necessary. But yeah, no, that's kind of, that would be my take on that, I think.
And that's a theme we've been noticing, right? Is make people just feel at home and
Yeah.
comfortable.
And it's not something that comes easy. Do you find it easy?
I find it fairly easy. There are sometimes that we meet people that are not so easy to entertain. You know, some people who get their phones out and interview and all of that sort of thing. That could be quite tricky.
Hey,
but you know,
who are you talking about?
It's happened a couple of times.
Like assholes.
You know,
I don't know.
Some of them. I wouldn't say that, but you know.
Of course you wouldn't, because you're in hospitality.
Yeah, but having a laugh with people is quite important. Having a just relaxing time. I enjoy what I do.
I love to cook for the family.
Yes.
I bet you're good at it.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of practice.
And one of the things that characterizes you, you're exceedingly gracious. You seem to be a very gracious person, and it's got to show up in the way you are with people when they come to you.
Well, thank you. But if that's something, it's a gift, isn't it, to cook for somebody, and it says, I love you.
Yes, that's how Kate and I see it. Like, when we entertain, we actually understand the amount of effort, thought, and concern that goes into what you do, how you prepare it, and the experience that you want the people to have.
That's right.
And that's such a theme that's come up with a lot of people we've been talking to, is the love that shows up by serving people and by doing something for them.
Yes, I just agree with that. It's just really important, and it's important not only for guests, but for your family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That you care enough to make an effort.
Yeah.
You're in hospitality, right?
Yes.
So you are on this boat, and you're such a wonderful presence here. The ability for you to like walk into a room and make people feel really comfortable.
Thank you.
So do you have any opinion on hospitality and what it means to be a hostess?
I
how do you do it?
I think that it's important for you to care. The core of it is caring about other people and caring about their experience and them having a good time. And I think that if you have that as the basis and you get something out of other people having a nice time and you taking care of them, then you will do well in hospitality.
It's the service,
so
like the
beautiful.
spiritual service concept in a way.
Yeah,
right?
it's rewarding. It is for me personally, and I know it isn't for everyone, but for me, it's rewarding. I like giving someone a nice meal, making sure they've had a nice evening. You know, I think if we have older passengers on board, I think, okay, if that was to be my mum or dad, I'd like them to be treated the way that I will treat them. That sounds really corny.
You're gonna make me cry.
No, we just love it because I want my mom to be treated the way you're treating the other guests on the boat.
Yes, totally.
So yeah, I don't know, and I just there's something I enjoy about taking care of people and being efficient and doing that.
You know, Kate, one of the things that really struck me on this trip was the length of the meals and what it allows for. It allows for those conversations to happen that don't normally happen over regular dinners.
Particularly with strangers.
Yeah. It's just so organic and just allows something to come up that may not have.
Exactly. So we're going to leave you with a little Easter egg of that here at the end of our recording.
We can't say enough good things about the Barge Luciole. So you can find out more information about the Barge Luciole at bargeluciole.com. That's Barge, B-A-R-G-E, Luciole, L-U-C-I-O-L-E. And you know what to do, people. Like us, subscribe, tell your friends about us. Listen, and you can, if you want to send us an email or any thoughts, send that to youwon'tbelievewhatIate@gmail.com. You want to like our Facebook page. We're going to have lots of information about this trip on our Facebook page.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of good pictures up on our Facebook page, which is just You Won't Believe What I Ate, and also a bunch of information on our website, youwon'tbelievewhatIate.com. And you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud,
Stitcher.
and also on YouTube, where we can use the subscription numbers. So even though you think of that as a video medium, you can still listen to your audio on there as well. So we leave you with our one last little piece of dinner conversation. Do you remember rabbit's feet?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
What were we
Wasn't
thinking?
so lucky for the rabbit.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew as a little kid that those were real rabbit's feet.
That's crazy.
What were we
So lucky for
thinking?
the rabbit.
I thought that once I learned that, I'm like, wait, you mean it's a real rabbit? I didn't understand. Someone killed it for
It's
dinner.
terrible.
And I loved them. I had them. I was like, these are awesome. But they were actual rabbit's feet. The rabbit's foot is a rabbit's foot? One day I thought, oh my God. I thought it was just called that. I didn't understand.
It's probably made out of nylon in China.
I would have preferred that.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm like, wait, there's like a bone in here.
Or several.
And they were fuchsia and purple, remember?
Oh my God, no, I always remember this white.
Oh, you were a purist with your rabbit's feet.
That's true. No neon.
No. We had neon. Oh, so you had them in your youth?
Oh yeah.
At least
Bob,
one weekend a month.
did you have lucky rabbit's feet in Wisconsin?
Yes, we did. You can't believe how many
Even in
lucky rabbits you
Wisconsin.
know.
No,
Good
Santa
grief.
Barbara's a full-time deal for 4 months, but
Where is
yeah, I
Wisconsin?
went to-
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's mid-
And then all these bunnies with little prosthetic legs, right?
I missed that.
All hopping about on three legs.
A little prosthetic leg, right?
That's what my dad said.